compromises of having Mitch put these monuments somewhere they don't belong. They ought to be right back up where they were. And I'm not ready, and I hope none of you all are ready to give up on that mission. What we want to do is to take Mitch. He's got 100 days left or thereabouts as mayor. And I'm going to take him on in this ad because in the 100 days, he took the monuments down without a plan of what he's going to do with them. He's got them, first of all, in a junkyard. Then the outcry made him put a couple of the monuments in a warehouse and in a shed. But we're going to end up getting these monuments back where they belong. And I tell you frankly, the only people that are going to control this is the public. And you all are part of the public, because what we've got to do is to keep ourselves together. Charles and I have worked recently, and he's writing a great book to counter Mitch Landrieu's book, who he's trying to get national notoriety and a position for by saying his book is going to be on slavery and on why he took the monuments down. The monuments have nothing to do with slavery. And anybody who knows history can tell you right now that the people featured on these monuments are people who have really made a dent in the country that we live in. And they're wonderful people. The Oval Office had Robert E. Lee's picture hanging in the Oval Office, and President Eisenhower said he was probably the finest general and one of the greatest citizens to ever live. But this goes on, and I could spend hours telling you. I'm going to end up trying to communicate publicly at great expense, but at the same time, I think the public really realizes that this is a controversial issue. And undoubtedly, there's some prejudiced people. There's some people who want, like Mitch made them, make the monuments a symbol of slavery, of discrimination, of segregation, and of white supremacy. Mitch made these monuments represent that. That is not true, and that is not correct, because these monuments are personal memorials. And having been in that profession all my life, I can tell you a memorial is permanent. It's not put up by any of you all in your life to remember your life. I can say a memorial is something that should be respected, and I want to see the conclusion of this whole matter where we end up winning, because the honest, you might say, result is not to compromise and say we're going to put them up somewhere else. I understand that might be the last resort, but at this point in time, Mitch has 100 days left in his as mayor, or in his rule in Romaine, his power. Let me put it that way. Mitch has to make a decision, and I'm giving him in my ad 4 choices. You can destroy the monuments, throw them in the river or the ocean, and be sued for having destroyed somebody else's property. He hadn't thought that through. Number 2, he can put these monuments back up, no matter where, public or private. The question is begged, why did you take them down? If you're going to put a monument back up, whether it be in public, private, or wherever, you have to ask the question, why did you take it down? The other choice is to store them forever, to store them at the taxpayer's cost for how long? So that is another choice. The 4th choice, and I've talked with LaToya, and I have to tell you, my opinion is she came to our last monuments meeting and then unfortunately voted against taking the monuments, leaving them up and taking them down. But LaToya right now, I'm convinced, she was not my candidate. I was with Michael Beck-Darris, who ultimately joined her campaign. But LaToya is an open-minded person, in my opinion. I hope I'm proven right. But nevertheless, she can call for a public referendum. She can call for a vote of the people, which is basically what I asked Mitch to do before he took the first monument down. And he wouldn't do that because he made a commitment to Malcolm Super and all of these people who wanted to use the monuments as a symbol for discrimination, slavery, and all the evils. Robert E. Lee said, and Charles has got this well documented, I can say Robert E. Lee said very clearly, slavery is evil. And guess what? My favorite expression right now is 2 words, and it's called positive evolution. We all have enjoyed in this free country positive evolution. What we've seen is technology happen from, I used to use a telephone when I was a kid, number please, to communications now, and technology is so instantaneous. We can be quoted in China at the same 5 seconds from where we are right now. So we have, in evolution, we have made so many strides. Transportation, I could tell you, all of the living standards that we have are as a result of evolution. And I have to say, we're still going through evolution and we'll never stop. But positive evolution is when you do something and get a better result. We are all privileged to have positive evolution. And I want to say to Mitch, he can't blame this on making a symbol of something that they're not. So again, I want to thank all of you all for being here. I want to thank particularly the people here who set this up, and Gary in particular, the Spark Plugs, Charles. I can tell you, each one of you, and Tom, with your artwork, I think it's going to be wonderful. If you haven't seen it, take a look at Robert E. Lee in clay over here, which is going to be, I would say, fulfilled in a monument that will last forever, and that hopefully will prove the point of what we can put up. So again, it's really, I know I've overlooked some of the people who have worked hard to make all this happen, but I have no ulterior motive. As I say, I'm not a politician. I'm not looking for anything, or credit or recognition. I'm just frustrated, like each one of you all, that my children aren't going to have a city that has all of the great history that we enjoy with these monuments. Let me say, it's a sin if we don't use memorialization to teach history, because that's what it's all about. And I thank you all again for being here, because this isn't going to be easy, but I'm going to do my part. And as I say right now, I hope this ad comes out this week, putting Mitch on the spot, that he has 100 days to make the decisions of either destroy these, put them back up, and the other one is have a public referendum or store them forever. He hadn't thought it through. And I hate to say it, but he's going to be challenged. He's going to be challenged by yours truly. And I really want to thank you all again and say it only happens. I got involved because I was motivated by Pierre and by Gary and Charles and all the other people here. I'm just as I say, a Johnny-come-lately, but I'm also a person that refuses to give up. And I'm not going to let Mitch dictate the future. He has 100 days to do the right thing, and we're going to keep him there.
Thank you, Frank. Ms. Paul.